It was a dramatic moment when John McCain, battling a brain tumor, got on a plane from Arizona, walked into the Capitol, and cast what turned out to be a decisive vote, the 49th or 50th vote, so that Republicans could at least proceed to try to get some kind of health care bill passed. Without McCain's vote, this was not going to even be on the floor. And a lot of credit to Mitch McConnell for somehow bringing this measure back from the deathbed. Everybody had kind of written it off. But for all of the applause and relief within Republican circles, and President Trump certainly happy that it's not dead on arrival, the euphoria didn't last long. Just a few hours later, when the Senate actually did vote on the repeal and replace bill, repeal and replace Obamacare. And this, of course, was the compromise that McConnell and company had worked so hard on to try to satisfy both the conservative wing and the moderates to get to 50 votes. It failed miserably. 9 Republican senators voted against it, perhaps realizing it was going to go down. Nobody wanted to take the risk of voting yes on a bill that's never going to see the light of day. Now, obviously, more votes lay ahead, but at the same time, the problem with this bill is the same problem that it has always been, which is it is very hard for this deeply divided Republican Party to come up with something that President Trump likes, which doesn't kick as many millions of people off the health insurance rolls. And yes, I know some of them would just not be required to buy health insurance, and they would make that choice and slow the Medicaid expansion, or even perhaps end it in some states. So, you know, it's like the Republicans live to fight another day, but they still can't seem to overcome their basic math problem. Now we're hearing about, well, they'll go for skinny repeal. I mean, only in Washington will you come up with these ludicrous phrases. Skinny repeal would mean basically not doing very much and then declaring victory. I don't really think it's skinny repeal. I think it's anorexic repeal, because it is such a shadow of what the Republicans have been promising for 7 years, which is getting rid of Obamacare and then replacing it with something else. So skinny repeal, you know, there are different definitions, but basically would mean eliminating the mandates. You don't have to buy insurance if you're either an individual or a company with a certain number of employees, doesn't have to provide that for their employees. And also getting rid of a medical tax on medical devices that nobody much likes anyway. Everything else remains in place. The subsidies, the Medicaid expansion, the rules and regulations of Obamacare, including, you know, minimum requirements for what has to be in a policy. Now, maybe that's the best the GOP can do, and they declare victory and say, we'll come back and fight another day. But it's a far cry away from what they had been promising the country. And, you know, it was one of the things that was really striking about McCain's speech, you know, which was an appeal to bipartisanship. He said he didn't like the current bill, though he did vote for it. But he said he felt, you know, that he should vote for it to proceed because he feels that senators, the world's greatest deliverer body, should be able to work these things out. And he also scolded the party for doing this in secret, not holding any hearings. Yes, the Democrats pushed Obamacare through some rough parliamentary tactics on a party line vote, but there were a bunch of hearings. So the bottom line here is, I think I sense that the GOP is just kind of exhausted with this issue, would like to pass anything that can get 50 votes, say at least we made a down payment on the effort, and then go on to other things like tax reform, even infrastructure, things that might be easier to deal with. But it just shows you how, you know, and this is true of every administration, and it's true no matter which party controls Congress. Rhetoric on the campaign trail sounds good. Voting against something sounds good when you know the president of the other party is going to veto it. When you have to come up with a workable compromise for something that's going to affect the lives of millions of people, and perhaps take the political heat if that has a bad effect, or take the political heat if you can't go as far as your base would like, it just shows you, unexciting as it is, that actually crafting legislation and getting to 50, or in an ideal world, getting some votes from the other party, finding some common ground, is a very hard thing to do. Governing, in other words, is a heck of a lot harder than promises in a campaign, as Republicans are now finding out.